Good morning, Algebra 1 kids. I hope that you have had a restful weekend and are ready to get right back into Algebra 1. But of course, before we begin, I've got a lame joke for you. What is black and white and has 16 wheels? It's a zebra on roller skates. And what is it that was the pig's favorite ballet? Well, it was Swan Lake, of course. So, for those of you who are not familiar with Tchaikovsky, he has a famous ballet that was entitled Swan Lake. Hence the favorite ballet of the pigs is Swan Lake. So this is going to be section 2.5 in your text. We are on page 66, and we're going to do just a little bit more work today with symbols of grouping. On Friday we introduced this and talked about one of the types of problems that you're going to be doing on your homework this week, where you get to put in the parentheses or brackets or braces to make a sequence of numbers and operations come up with a desired number. So let's say if we have this problem right here, it's going to take me a minute to figure out exactly how I want to use this whiteboard. My husband put this up for me, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. Makes it a lot easier. 3 plus 2 times 4 minus 6 divided by 3. And make sure that all of that's on there, and it is. 3 plus 6 times 4. 3 plus 2 times 4 minus 6 divided by 3. Now if we looked at this and we just said, okay, according to the regular order of operations, what am I going to do first? Well, I have addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And our order of operations tells us that with this problem we're going to do multiplication and division in order from left to right, followed by addition and subtraction. So we would have 3 plus 2 times 4 would be 8, minus 6 divided by 3, which would be 2. First we multiplied, and then we would have minus 6 divided by 3, or 2. 3 plus 8 is 11, minus 2, and that would give us a result of a 9. But let's say that we wanted to have our problem be something different from the way that it is actually written here. Like here it's saying, let's say we want to add 3 and 2 together, and then we want to be able to subtract 4 and 6. Well, what are we going to have to do to show that? Well, if we want to add 3 and 2 together, we're going to have to put parentheses around that, because parentheses are a higher level of priority than addition. Since we wouldn't normally add at the beginning, by putting those parentheses in there, that says, okay, we've now gone up a level. We've said parentheses are more important, so we're going to do that addition first. And then we wanted to subtract 4 minus 6. We don't even need that raised dot there any longer to indicate that we have multiplication, because whenever you have sets of parentheses bump up against one another, you already know that that's multiplication. So now this would become 5 times a negative 2 divided by 3. So first you have to multiply together 5 times a negative 2. You have negative 10 divided by 3, which is going to give you a negative 10 thirds. And you see that you have an answer that is completely different from the one that we did just a moment ago, following regular order of operations. And excuse my voice, I'm still recovering from having laryngitis, in this part of the country, it is just allergy season. So now they want us to go ahead and just group the numbers yet another way. So let me erase this and see what I have. I have 3 plus 2, and we want to multiply that quantity times 4 minus 6 divided by 3. See, not only do we have parentheses in here, but we have brackets in there as well. And these, the parentheses, the brackets, and also these braces that I've already demonstrated for you in class. I don't draw very well. These braces are just symbols of inclusion. And you work on completing whatever operation it is inside those symbols of inclusion from the inside out. So what are we going to have to do here? Well, our innermost set of symbols of inclusion is the 5, so we have to have that, because otherwise we would multiply the 2 and the 4 together first. So we have 5 times 4 minus 6 divided by 3. 20 minus 6 divided by 3. What do we do now? We have to do the division first, because division is a higher level of priority than subtraction. So you have 20 minus 2, or you have 18. So all purpose of this first part of the lesson is to illustrate for you that these symbols of inclusion, and your book refers to them also as symbols of grouping. This tells you, by putting these particular grouping symbols around orders, combination of numbers and operations, that it says, okay, we're going to ignore what our regular order of operation is. We have PEMDAS, and this is the rule that tells us the order in which we perform operations in a mathematical statement if there are not symbols of inclusion. First you would do parentheses and exponents, or parentheses and powers. Those are the highest level priority. These are priority level 1, so you do those first. Next comes multiplication and division. So we want to go ahead and do those next. And then finally, we want to do addition and subtraction. And when we have operations remaining that are at the same level of importance, both secondary levels of importance, then we're going to perform those in order from left to right, regardless of if it's multiplication or division that goes first. So, at the bottom of page 66, they give you a little plan for how do you use grouping symbols. And I really think this is, you guys have this down, we've discussed it enough, but I am going to say, find the innermost set of grouping symbols first. That's when you work with it from the inside to the out. Do the operations that are in that innermost set of grouping symbols first, and then keep repeating that until you have finished working all of the operations within all of your pairs of grouping symbols. And then you evaluate the expression by following the given order of operations. So let's look at example 1 on page 67. You have evaluate this expression. This is example number 1. 2 plus 3 times the quantity, 5 plus 7, divided by 2. And I want you to notice how I read this. 2 plus 3 times the quantity, 5 plus 7. That tells us that we're going to do whatever is in there first. 3 times the quantity, 5 plus 7. Next step, 2 plus 3 times 12, divided by 2. Now we have same level priority operations here. We have multiplication and we have division. So we're going to perform those in order from left to right. 2 plus 36 divided by 2. Addition, division, which one comes first? Well, yes, of course, division comes first. 2 plus 18, you add those, and you get a final result of 20. Nothing magical about this, nothing out of the ordinary about this. This is just simply following regular order of operations. So let's go ahead and look at example 2. This says evaluate 9 minus 3 times the quantity 2 plus 7 times 8 times the quantity 3 plus 5 close quantity minus 4. Now that's a little bit longer than we're used to seeing, so let's make sure that I got this copied right. I have 9 minus 3 bracket 2 plus 7 times 8 times the quantity 3 plus 5 close parenthesis close bracket minus 4. It's important to do that because take the time to go back and check it. I was solving a chemistry problem last night, preparing to teach it to my children, and I'd worked through it and I thought, oh, I had done the work exactly correctly, but one of the temperature values, I think they're probably done. You can call them, you can heat sausage. One of the temperature values in my problem was 27.1. Well, I had not been careful, degrees centigrade. And I wrote in my calculation 27.7. So I carried that error the whole way through everything that I was doing. So make sure to take the time to be very careful with your values. Well, what's the innermost set of grouping symbols here? 3 plus 5, of course. And when you're working these out one step at a time, it takes you a good while to get to the conclusion of your problem, but you want to do this one step at a time. You know, take one step and then another and then another. Inside now we have 7 times 8 times 8. So we have to work inside here. We have to do multiplication before we do addition. 9 minus 3 times the quantity 2 plus 7 times 8 is 56. So 7 times 8 is 56 times 8 minus 4. So what do we have now? We still have an operation inside symbols of inclusion. What is 56 times 8? 6 8s are 48. So it's 448, I hope. Yes, it's 448. Now we have 9 minus 3 times the quantity 2 plus 448. Isn't that convenient for my mental arithmetic? Right here, minus 4. Inside the grouping symbols, we have 450. 9 minus 3 times, and you can change that to parentheses if you like, or you can keep it as the bracket that it is. 450 minus 4. 9 minus 1350 minus 4. 9 minus 1350, we're going to subtract 9 from 1350, which is 1341, and keep the sign. So we have minus 1341 minus 4, is that? Can't tell if you can see that answer or not. So, I'll write it up here. Minus 1341 minus 4 is a negative 1345. 5. And that's the solution to our problem. This wasn't hard, but it was long. So it's a lot different than saying 5 plus 9 is 45. You have multiple steps in here. And I really think that part of the reason that they have you do this, other than learning order of operation, is just to get you accustomed to doing multi-step problems, because as you progress on through the rest of high school, you're going to have some lengthy problems. Okay, the final question on this is the one that I went over in class, where they're going to give you a set of numbers and operations and tell you, okay, given this information, I want you to come to insert grouping symbols so that you come up with a certain particular answer. These are the numbers. We have 24, this is example 3. 24 divided by 4 plus 8 times 3 minus 10. 24 divided by 4 plus 8 times 3 minus 10. No grouping symbols. What's this value going to give us if we follow the order of operations that says multiplication and division in order from left to right? Well, let's see. 24 divided by 4 is 6, plus 8 times 3 is 24, minus 10, 30 minus 10. This gives us a value of 20. Okay, this is what our solution would be if we followed the order of operations. Anything wrong with what we've done here? Not a thing wrong. It is exactly, absolutely correct, except we didn't read the instructions. Our instructions say, insert grouping symbols so that the expression represents negative 50. Well, last I knew, 20 was not the same as a negative 50. So even though we did nothing wrong here, following our accepted order of operations, we didn't complete the problem because it said, we don't want you to give us an answer of 20. We want you to make this problem give us an answer of negative 50. Okay, so this part right here now means it's time to play around and say, okay, I'm going to have to add some parentheses in and change the value. Got this little separation here in my board, and I'm trying to figure out how to take that. What if I group the 4 and the 8 together? So I'm going to have 24 divided by 12 times 3 minus 10. And now, what is 24 divided by 12? Well, that's 2 times 3 minus 10. 2 times 3 is 6 minus 10. And we have a minus 4. Well, that got us nowhere fast, didn't it? We do have the negative now at least. But did they ask us to make this problem be equal to negative 4? No, they asked us to make the problem be equal to a negative 50. So that means back to the drawing board. Now when you're doing your work, do not erase each one of your samples. I want you to show me 2 or 3 ways on your problem where you had said, okay, first I tried this, then I tried this, then I tried this, and here's the one that gave me the solution I was looking for. What if we have 24 divided by 4 plus 8 times 3 minus 7? It's not 3 minus 7. 3 minus 7 is what you get. Minus 7 is what you get when you say 3 minus 10. So it's going to give me a negative 7. So 8 times the negative 7 is negative 56, so I should be closer to where I need to be. First we're going to evaluate within parentheses 24 divided by 4 plus 8 times a negative 7. Now we have division and multiplication in the same level here. So we're going to work those operations in order from left to right. 24 divided by 4 is 6, plus 8 times a negative 7 is a negative 56, and here is the way we needed to group those, to use our grouping symbols so that we came up with the desired result. So have fun playing around with these. Don't let them frustrate you. See what you can do with it. And that's the end of section 2.5.